A new day arrives. Sayori arrives at the club room earlier than usual. That is, not late. As she enters, it appears to be empty still. So she sits down at a desk and pulls out a sheet of paper, primed to jot down her thoughts. Sayori has made it a habit of scribbling her thoughts and feelings onto paper whenever possible, as it tends to serve as her best inspiration for poetry. My heart feels vacant because a ship sailed away. Yo. Yeah! Natsuki? Natsuki pokes her head out from behind the closet door. Sorry, didn't mean to scare ya. But it would have been a lot more awkward if I didn't say anything. I doubt you want me listening in on your poetry thing. Yeah. Thanks for realizing that. Should I let you finish that up then? Oh no, it wasn't, I just do it whenever it's convenient. You're not interrupting. Where's Monica, by the way? Oh, she's out in the hallway. Huh? Why? Well, just in case she runs into Yuri. Sometimes Yuri is too nervous to come into the clubroom by herself, so... Oh. Jeez, does Yuri really let things bother her for that long? She can't control her feelings. For some people, it's really hard to cope when you get a bad thought in your head. Maybe you can distract yourself for a little while. But as soon as it's just you and your thoughts again, it comes back. Ugh. Huh? I just want us to have a normal club meeting. It's a lot easier to pretend like it never happened if we all just ignore it and move on. I don't want to be bothered by this. It's so stupid. Her opinion of me doesn't matter anyway. Besides, it makes me feel really guilty, and I hate that too. It's okay to have feelings. It doesn't make you weak. Let's figure this out together. Fine. Only because you're good at this stuff. Let's try to come up with a happy scene. Maybe that'll help us understand where your bad feelings are coming from. Well, I was happy the way things were before we had to have that conversation yesterday. What part of the conversation made you upset? Was it Yuri being mean about the manga? Maybe. I doubt it though. Because my friends and other people make fun of manga all the time. But I just brush it off and ignore them. But something about it really got me this time, and I hate that I'm letting it happen. Is it because it came from Yuri? No. Why would that matter? Well, maybe. I hate that she thinks she's so much better than me just because she likes to pretend to be all sophisticated. Yeah, that's what it is. At least other people decide they don't like me, or manga, or whatever. But Yuri acts like she's too good to even give it a chance. I'm sorry. Everyone deserves a chance. Yeah, exactly. Would you give Yuri's books a chance? Huh? After this? Obviously not. What about before this? Well, it would until I got bored, which wouldn't take very long. But if you actually keep an open mind, then it's not that hard to realize that a story can be deep and meaningful without being needlessly complicated. I see. But you know, I like Yuri's books. Yeah, but you like manga more, right? Sayori shakes her head. I like them both. I like them in different ways, but I like them both. The manga, it's really honest and fun and easy to let go with. And the fantasy has a lot to interpret and uncover, and it's really rewarding to have some good quiet time together with it. But the most important thing is that both the manga and the fantasy are true to themselves. So I love them both. And I think there's room for both of them in the same club together. And I just feel like maybe they have more in common than you would think. How do you get along with everyone so well? I always get into fights with people. Like first it was with Monica, when I was new to the club, and then it was you, and now it's Yuri. And I'm always like, oh, that person is being such a jerk, and then they just realized that, then we could just get along. But nobody else has this problem. I just keep running away from the reality that everybody's just a jerk to me because nobody likes me. And I don't know why, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hate it. Natsuki. Sayori puts a comforting hand on Natsuki's shoulder. You're a wonderful person. You deserve to be loved as much as everyone else. Everyone has different ways they like to communicate, you know? And sometimes that makes it harder for us to understand each other. I think that sometimes we get lucky and we make friends who are really good at the same kinds of communication. And it feels like you magically connect with them. But other times, even if both people are really nice, it's easy for them to misunderstand each other or get the communication wrong. It's something that Yuri struggles with a lot too. It can be really hard, and it takes a lot of, reflection and self-awareness. And vulnerability. I'm bad at that one. Vulnerability. I always have to be the strongest. What do you mean? Tell me about that part of you. Well, it sounds stupid, but I'm really used to people being mean to me. Like my friends and I guess my dad. Like when I don't get good grades or even stupid things, like if my room isn't clean. So what am I gonna do? Cry about it? If I let myself get upset, then it's just letting them win. I'm better than that. I'm better than all of them. So things always have to be everyone else's fault. It feels like if something goes wrong, and there's even a tiny hint that it might be my fault, then I just get really angry and I find ways to blame everyone else instead. Do you see yourself as better than Yuri? If I said that, then I would just sound really full of myself. No. Our thoughts and our feelings are two different things. Even if we don't like our feelings, we have to understand them if we want to learn more about ourselves. That's a part of vulnerability, you know. Accepting that we have feelings that we don't like. I hate that. My feelings make me a bad person. Because my feelings just want to tell me that I'm so much better than her. That she's a judgmental know-it-all who's stuck in her edgy phase, and I'm just way above that garbage. But I'm terrible for feeling that way. You're not terrible. You are not your feelings. But you are not your feelings. Say that to yourself, out loud. Fine. I am not my feelings. The way that I like to picture it is that those feelings are like your roommate. You live in the same house, and you gotta see each other every day. And even if you can ignore each other, most of the time, you're gonna run into each other every now and then, and it's gonna make you feel like poop. So the other option is to get to know each other. It's gonna make you feel like poop. You can communicate and learn from each other, and maybe even help each other change for the better. Does that help you understand? How do you know so much about this stuff? I just have a roommate that can be really hard to get along with. Called depression. Depression? But you're like the happiest person I know. I am not my feelings. Oh. I want to be a good person like you. Aw, you little sweetheart. We're all good people. You and Yuri and Monica. And I think Yuri will eventually learn that about you. Natsuki remains silent, feeling a little overwhelmed. Despite Sayori's kind reassurance, a complicated mixture of pain and sadness seems to fill her, as though flowing from a wound inside her. Was it a result of her vulnerability? No. It wasn't as though she inflicted a wound after becoming vulnerable. It was as though she began to rediscover an old wound, one that cannot simply be bandaged and left alone any longer. Yuri, what are you doing all the way over here? I was looking for you. Please don't yell at me. Oh, I'm not gonna yell at you. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry about what happened yesterday. It was unfair for me to put everyone on the spot like that. Next time, I won't try to jump in and solve everyone's problems. I guess it's just a bad habit of mine. You're not mad at me? I thought you were the one mad at me. I was so awful yesterday. Yuri curls up, recalling the details of the argument. I can't even have a normal conversation without saying something wrong and making everyone upset. Hold on, that's not what happened at all. Let's talk about this, okay? Yuri pauses for a second and manages a nod. Monika takes a seat next to her on the staircase. I'm having a lot of negative thought patterns and I can't get away from them. What kind of negative thought patterns? Like everyone hates me, especially Natsuki. Oh, that's terrible. I don't think Natsuki hates you. How do you know? Well, because Monika thinks back to the time that she found herself in the altercation with Natsuki, and how a display of maturity from Monika was enough for Natsuki to reevaluate her own feelings as well. I think Natsuki is just naturally defensive. I think she acts mean when she feels the need to protect herself. But you know, she's really not a bad person. In fact, I think she can be really thoughtful and considerate. She just, well, I guess the way it works is that she wants to receive some degree of kindness before she feels comfortable returning it. Oh, but that means the burden is on me. And I don't know how to say things to make people like me. Every time I open my mouth, I just... Yuri shakes her head at herself and tugs on her hair. It's okay, Yuri. You don't need to beat yourself up. I think anyone would like you if they had the chance to get to know you. Well, unfortunately, the opposite is true. That's why I'm not talkative anymore in the first place. Because everyone used to think I was weird and talk about me behind my back. That's just what happens when I draw attention to myself. Natsuki even said she found it more respectable when people speak their mind. So I did, and she hated me anyway. That was enough to confirm my fears. But Sayori and I like you. And we've gotten to know you a lot by now, right? Yuri doesn't seem to have a response. Hey, what do you think of Natsuki? I don't think about her. That's not what I meant, really. I was just wondering if you had an opinion of her. I do. What is it? Natsuki seems to bring out the worst in me, and I feel really ashamed of it. I like to think of myself as a fairly sophisticated person. So for someone to just treat me like I'm inferior despite my tastes, that's just the worst kind of insult coming from someone like her. And it makes me think bad things about her. But everyone else seems to like her. So the only explanation is that it's me who's doing something wrong again. And my feelings about her are wrong. And I'm wrong to get upset over something so childish and inconsequential. No, Yuri. Feelings are never wrong. Well, they're not right. That's the thing. Feelings are never right or wrong, you know? They're just a state of being that we don't always have control over. But that doesn't mean they have to control us. I feel like that's something I learned around when I first started the club. We can hate ourselves for feeling a certain way about things, or we can, just acknowledge that they exist and try to understand them better. You could never be mad at you. I could never be mad at you for just feeling a certain way. It's about how you handle them. And I think working through feelings is a great opportunity for teamwork. Yuri wears a dejected expression. You make it sound so easy. You're so mature and so good with people. I feel like a child in comparison. Oh, Yuri, I'm far from perfect. But these are learned skills. They didn't come naturally to me either. It's really hard to, reflect on yourself and separate your feelings from your thoughts. I just want to be a good person. Well, I think it takes a good person to get this far. That's not good enough. I want to be able to communicate it to her. Communicate what? How I feel. How it makes me feel frustrated and upset when she's so negative and dismissive of the things that mean so much to me. And how it reminds me of me. Because I know what it's like to feel misunderstood and angry at everyone. I know that telling yourself you're better than everyone else is just a defense mechanism. We're just people. We're fragile and unstable. But I'm just tired of that getting in the way. I can't stand it when the peace is disturbed like this. Yeah, you can't focus on your reading when the peace is disturbed, right? Because the literature club should be happy for everyone. Aww. Monika looks at Yuri in adoration. I feel like Sayori must be rubbing off on me because I really want to hug you now. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. No, I mean, well, if you wanted to, then I really wouldn't mind, so... Monika pulls Yuri into a short embrace. You're so gentle, and I love when you communicate your feelings. I feel lucky to get to see that side of you, and I'm sure Natsuki will too. You okay, Ozzy? I'm going to write her a letter. Oh, a letter? What a great idea! Just because I'm not good at talking, especially under pressure. I always let my feelings get the best of me, and I forget to say all the important things, and I say things I don't mean. Well, I think a letter would be wonderful. Such a nice way to communicate. Yuri's face hardens with determination. People don't naturally gravitate towards me like they do for you and Sayori. My personality just isn't suited for that, and I wouldn't want it to be. But something I've learned is that friendships don't always just magically appear out of thin air. For instance, I never would have seen myself making friends with someone like Sayori. We're opposite in a lot of ways, but I'm friends with her because she puts so much effort into understanding me. I think it was the same with you. You both gave me a lot of time and patience, and I wonder if she feels the same way. Natsuki? Yuri nods. I always thought that if I wanted to make more friends, I had to be somebody that I'm not. That there's a type of person or a magical formula I have to follow in order to make someone like me. And that's just like me to think that. Always so occupied with myself that I fail to understand other people. Yuri shakes her head. Friendship happens when you think about the other person. When you offer time and effort to understand them and respect them and trust that they also want to be a good person. That's what I learned through my observations in the literature club. Observations? That's weird. Monika's caught by surprise. Yuri has always kept to herself so much that it's so unusual to hear her suddenly talking about the club like this. But Yuri gently smiles to herself. You always let me listen to your thoughts about other people, Sayori too, and it makes me happy because I learn a lot of things. That's so sweet. I had no idea that it meant so much to you. Monika never thought much of it, but in the past weeks, Yuri always seems to be especially attentive when it came to the problems and concerns of others, always wanting to listen and learn more about her friends in the club. It's true, Sayori and Monika are naturally more comfortable with other people and can more easily work through situations of conflict. But that doesn't make them better people. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses and the capacity to improve. And the first step towards improving oneself is reflection and self-awareness. It's something that Yuri never gave herself enough credit for, but that Monika can recognize as an incredible trait. And with that, her confidence in the club is restored. A very shy girl with long pretty hair is wandering the bustling lunchtime hallways, her fists pressed into her collarbone. When she finds the literature club president's classroom, she stands at the door, glancing all around her before peering inside. Monika is sitting and chatting with a group of unknown friends. Yeah, as expected. This was a bad idea after all. Suddenly, Monika glances towards the door, making the girl panic and duck out of sight. Before she can regain composure and decide for sure to leave, the classroom door gently opens. Yuri, what a surprise to see you during lunch. Yuri squeaks a response. Please, help me. What? Is everything okay? Yuri shakes her head. I don't know how to write letters. Thank goodness, I thought there was some kind of emergency. Monica briefly glances over her shoulder at her other friends. Do you want some help? We can go find an empty classroom or something. Is that okay? I feel bad taking you away from your friends. It's totally fine, I promise. We weren't really doing anything. One sec. Monica trots back into her classroom, says something like, I gotta go to her friends, and grabs a pen off her desk before returning to Yuri. Okay, let's find somewhere quiet. Yuri nods and follows Monica as the two of them set off. How are you today? Huh? Me? Oh, yes. Oh gosh, sorry, I was just caught off guard. I'm doing well today, just tired. I never seem to get enough sleep during the week. How come? Oh, I don't know. I think I'm just easily distracted. I get really sucked into things and then start neglecting the time. Me too. I do that too. Hey, this classroom is empty. Let's go in here. After peering inside, Monica opens the classroom door and the two of them enter. Yuri's moment of relaxation ends. She watches as Monica pulls two chairs up to the same desk and then obeys as Monica beckons her to take a seat. She stares down at the empty desk. Are you nervous? I don't want to do this. We don't have to. We can come up with something else. Yuri shakes her head. It's my chance to do something good. I need to take the initiative. Gosh, you really must be determined. I know how hard it is for you to step out of your comfort zone. I'll be sure to encourage you. Yuri pushes through her anxiety and grabs a handful of lined paper from her notebook. Then she picks up her pen. Oh, this is cute! Hey, you're left-handed. That's neat. Yeah. Now I don't have to worry about bumping your arm. Monica playfully rubs her shoulder against Yuri's. Sorry, I'm just being silly, I guess. Anyway, how about we start by listing the different things you want to say to her? Yuri thinks. I feel embarrassed all of a sudden. Oh, it's okay. How about some of the things you said to me yesterday? But, never mind. I guess I'll try. Yuri thinks for a moment longer, her tension evident. Then she writes the word, reflection. This is about my reflection on our behavior. The key question is why we act like this towards each other, but have been able to separately be friends with Sayori and Monica. That's me! Yes, it is. So, Yuri thinks. I've been able to befriend the two of you because you've taken the time to understand my needs and respect my interests. The same goes for Natsuki too. We started off as pretty hostile towards each other. Oh, that's Monica. We started off as pretty hostile towards each other because I was so worried about getting what I wanted. But she just wanted to be respected more than anything else. Once I stopped making it all about me, she was able to do the same. I want to do that too. So what kind of things do you want to do for her? I want to do the same things for her that I like to receive. I like it when people respond positively to the things I talk about and not just brush me off. I like it when my feelings are taken seriously. I like it when you and Sayori trust that I want to be a good person, even when I'm not doing a good job at it. Let's write those things down. Okay. Yuri writes some things down. I think the most important thing is to remember here that Natsuki is feeling vulnerable, so we should make sure that the letter puts her first. It's hard when you're feeling hurt, but it never helps to just tell someone all the things that they're doing wrong. I think first you have to make sure that they know you're ready to respect them and listen to them, and admit that things that you feel could do better. That you feel you could do better. Then, finally, you ask what you would like in return. How does that sound for structure? It could be 3 paragraphs, 1 for each of those points. I like that. My thoughts were so disorganized, I had no idea how to come up with any kind of structure. You're so amazing at these things. Oh, stop. You've done so much more than I have, you know? You spent so much time reflecting and being open-minded. That's the hardest thing for anyone to do. All I'm doing is helping you put it onto a piece of paper. So I think you're the amazing one. Monica gives Yuri's hand a quick squeeze, but as she lets go, she's caught by surprise when Yuri curls her fingers to hook Monika's hand in place. For a while, they sit like that in silence, save for the occasional scratching of Yuri's pen against the paper. Yesterday, you told me something that I'm thinking about a lot. What was that? The thing about how feelings aren't right or wrong, and that they're just a state of being that we need to come to terms with. It made me think about how a person's behavior isn't always how they decide to be. It also made up their past experiences and their insecurities. I think that it helps me see other people's actual people rather than insignificant side characters who are out to get me somehow. Is that how you felt about Natsuki? Yuri nods. But in reality, everyone is always trying their best, and everyone wants to be happy. Monika peers over at Yuri's paper, but to her surprise, Yuri pulls it in closer, partially covering it with her arm. I have to be able to read it to help out, you know. It's okay. My thoughts are a lot more organized now after being able to talk to you about it. Now that I'm actually putting it on paper, I realize I'd really prefer others not to read it. Yuri laughed softly to herself, a rare expression. I'm kind of glad to hear that, actually. I somehow keep finding ways to butt into this whole thing. I've done enough damage. But it's also been so wonderful talking about this. I mean, I always thought you were really smart, but... Yuri smiles. I will always be terrible at these things. People are just so incomprehensible to me. I'll never get the hang of being one. But listening to you so much has really helped me make sense of some things. So just don't call it damage, please. Monika gives Yuri a gentle smile. I can't believe I came to this club looking for fantasy geeks, and all I got was real friends who value me. Is that a joke? Of course it is. I still can't tell with you. That was cute. Yuri made a joke. Sorry. No, I love it. Please never change. As you wish. Yuri glances at the clock. We're almost out of time. Will you be able to finish? Before the end of the day, probably. But I don't want to come up to the club the same day that Natsuki reads it. I'm too shy. I can give it to her instead if you'd like. Yuri nods. As long as you promise not to read it. Of course, I promise. Thank you. Yuri exhales and the two stand up. I'll message you when it's ready. Monika nods. Good luck. I'm here if you need me. Yuri returns a nod and the two depart.